Liam Mercer adjusted his translation implant as the Nixian ambassador's multitonal voice filled the chamber. After 6 years as Earth's diplomatic liaison to the Nix Confederation, he'd grown accustomed to the subtle vibrations their speech sent through his inner ear. What he hadn't grown accustomed to was being discussed as if he weren't present. The human specimen has proven adequate in linguistic capacities, Ambassador Zelra said to the Holographic Council. His genetic profile shows 94% compatibility with Nixian physiology. It's making him particularly valuable for the continuation program. Liam cleared his throat. Ambassador, I'm standing right here. Zelra's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Gesture Liam had learned indicated mild embarrassment. Apologies, Translator Mercer. The Council is merely confirming your reassignment details. Reassignment. Liam's stomach dropped. I wasn't informed of any reassignment. Central hologram flickered as Confederation Minister Doran leaned forward. Earth's recent treaty with the Astral Legion includes provisions for specialized personnel exchange. Your rare genetic makeup makes you uniquely qualified. Translation: they were trading him like an exotic pet. Humans with compatibility genetics were uncommon since first contact only 15 years ago. Earth had quickly learned that having compatible humans in diplomatic positions gave them leverage in interstellar politics. With respect, Minister, I signed on as a translator. Not as a he searched for the right words. Genetic resource. Your contract specifies service as needed by the Confederation, Minister Doran replied coolly. The Astral Legion has requested you specifically as part of securing peace in the Cygnus sector. Liam felt the weight of dozens of alien eyes on him. The Nixians' luminescent purple skin seemed to pulse with interest. He'd spent years studying their culture and biology, their 4-fingered hands that moved with impossible grace, their height that exceeded humans by nearly a foot, their emotional restraint that masked passionate natures. When do I leave? He asked, knowing resistance was futile. The Legion vessel arrives tomorrow. Commander Alara Thel will personally oversee your transfer. That night in his quarters, Liam packed the few personal items allowed. Books, earth spices, and the small wooden chest that his grandfather had given him. A gentle chime announced a visitor. Dr. Mira Chen, the only other human on the diplomatic station, entered with a concerned expression. Heard about your reassignment? The Astral Legion? That's deep space, Liam. Apparently I'm too genetically valuable to waste on mere translation work, he said bitterly. Myra sat beside him. The Nixians' continuation program isn't what you think. It's not just about ... breeding. It's about cultural exchange through genetic partnership. Some humans have found it meaningful. Some humans weren't forced into it. True, she conceded, but Alara Thal has a reputation for fairness, at least. And the Cygnus sector is politically fascinating. Liam smiled despite himself. Always the anthropologist. Just trying to find the bright side, Mira said, squeezing his hand. Be careful out there. The Legion follows traditional Nixian hierarchies, but there are reformists pushing for change. You might find yourself caught between factions. Story of my diplomatic career, Liam sighed. What do you know about Thal? Strict adherence to protocol. Decorated war hero. Believes deeply in the Confederation's genetic classification system. Ira hesitated. She requested you specifically, Liam. That's unusual. A tremor ran through the station, the arrival of a large vessel. They're early, Liam whispered. Feeling the future closing in faster than expected, the Astral Legion vessel, Concordia, dwarfed the diplomatic station. Through the viewport of the shuttle transporting him, Liam marveled at its sleek obsidian hull adorned with pulsing violet energy conduits, a telltale signature of Nixian technology. When the shuttle doors opened, Liam was greeted by a row of Nixian officers standing at attention, their purple skin shimmering under the bay lights. At their center stood Commander Alara Thal, unmistakable in her midnight black uniform with silver insignia denoting her high rank. Translator Mercer, she said, her multitonal voice precise and measured. Welcome aboard the Concordia. She was taller than most Nixians, with a commanding presence that seemed to fill the room. Her eyes, all 4 of them, studied him with analytical intensity. Commander Liam replied with the formal bow he'd learned was customary. Thank you for the reception. Your reputation precedes you, Alara said, motioning for him to follow her. The other officers dispersed silently. Few humans have mastered our linguistic complexities as you have. They walked through corridors of polished metal and softly glowing panels. Nixian crew members paused to observe him with undisguised curiosity. I get the feeling my linguistic abilities weren't what interested the Legion, Aliam said carefully. Alara's stride didn't falter. Your genetic compatibility is indeed remarkable. The highest we've documented in the diplomatic corps. And that makes me what exactly? A prize? They entered a lift that ascended smoothly. It makes you valuable to the continuation of peaceful relations, Alara replied. The Nixian Confederation values genetic diversity as other species value natural resources or technology. The lift doors opened to a spacious chamber with panoramic views of stars. Alara gestured to the room. Your quarters. I've arranged them according to human comfort specifications. Liam was surprised by the thoughtfulness Surth books on shelves, temperature adjusted to human preference. Even a chest set on a small table. You've done your research, he noted. Protocol dictates thorough preparation. She moved to a control panel and activated a holographic display. Your schedule has been arranged to allow for gradual integration into Legion activities. You'll continue translation duties, attend cultural exchange sessions, and participate in genetic compatibility assessments. And if I refuse the assessments? Alara turned all four eyes to him, her expression unreadable. The treaty specified your participation. Refusal would complicate diplomatic relations. Of course it would, Liam muttered. Something flickered across Alara's features, perhaps annoyance, perhaps curiosity. Your reluctance is noted, Translator Mercer, but unnecessary. Nixians hold genetic donors in the highest esteem on Earth. We generally prefer to choose our partners based on connection, not genetic profiles. An inefficient system, Alara stated, though her tone softened slightly. However, connection is not disregarded in our processes. Compatibility extends beyond genetics. Before Liam could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. Alara immediately straightened, touching her communication implant. Commander, a voice reported urgently. Unidentified vessel approaching from Sector 7. Non-standard Legion signatures. Raise shields, Alara ordered. Escort our guests to secure quarters. Is this normal? Liam asked as security officers appeared at the doorway. Alara's expression hardened. No, this sector should be secure. She turned to leave, then paused. Translator Mercer Liam, regardless of how you came to be here, you are under my protection. Remember that. As she strode away, Liam couldn't help noticing the elegant efficiency of her movement. The authority she commanded without effort. Whatever he might think of Nixian customs, Alara Thal was impressive. The ship shuddered violently. Through the viewport, Liam glimpsed another vessels, smaller but faster, with red energy signatures instead of executing an impossible maneuver to match the Concordia's course. Please come with us. Sir, one of the security officers urged. Liam followed, but not before witnessing the approaching ship fire what appeared to be a targeted pulse directly at their shields. This wasn't a random encounter. Whoever was out there had come specifically for the Concordio, perhaps Liam realized with sudden clarity for him. The Concordia rocked with another impact as Liam followed the security detail through narrowing corridors. Emergency lights bathed everything in crimson, making the Nixian's purple skin appear almost black. What exactly is happening? Liam demanded as they hustled him into a reinforced chamber. Remain here, the lead officer instructed, ignoring his question. The door sealed with a hiss, leaving Liam alone with his mounting anxiety. The room's communication panel flashed. Liam hesitated, then pressed it. Pete, this is Captain Naira, Vex of the independent vessel Defiance. A female voice announced, somehow broadcasting on all frequencies. Commander Thal, your acquisition of the human translator violates the Reform Coalition's rights petition currently before the High Council. Liam moved closer to the panel. The voice continued. Surrender the human to neutral custody, or we will be forced to board and retrieve him under Coalition protection laws. The ship shuddered again, and suddenly the sealed door slid open. Liam backed away as a figure entered, not one of the Concordia's crew, but a Nixian female in a fitted crimson uniform that contrasted starkly with her vibrant purple skin. "Translator Mercer?" she asked as sleek pulse weapons held confidently in her hands. "Who's asking?" She smiled, revealing a subtle shimmer across her lips that matched the red accents in her close-cropped hair. "Captain Nira Vex. We don't have much time." She holstered one weapon and extended her hand, a surprisingly human gesture. "I'm here to offer you asylum." Asylum from what exactly? Liam didn't take her hand. It's from being reduced to a genetic resource in Ilara Thal's continuation program. Naira's four eyes narrowed slightly. The Reform Coalition believes in choice, not assignment. Genetic compatibility should facilitate relationships, not replace them. The ship's internal communications crackled. "Intruder alert in secure Sector 3. All personnel decision time," Naira urged, hands still extended. "Come willingly or stay as Thal's prize specimen. Either way, I'm leaving with you." Liam studied her, the confidence in her stance, the intelligence in her eyes, the determination in her jaw. Unlike Alara's disciplined demeanor, Naira radiated passionate conviction. "Why me specifically?" he asked. "Your case has become symbolic. The highest compatibility human being traded without consent? It's exactly the reform catalyst we needed." Before Liam could respond, the door panel flashed red. Someone was overriding the lock. "They're coming," Naira warned. Drawing her second weapon again, the door slid open to reveal Commander Alara Thal, flanked by armed officers. Her eyes widened momentarily at the scene before her expression hardened into glacial anger. "Captain Vex," she said, voice dangerously controlled. "Your actions constitute piracy and treaty violation." Naira stepped partially in front of Liam. "Your acquisition constitutes sentient trafficking, Commander. The Reform Coalition no longer recognizes the authority of traditionalists over genetic sovereignty. You're not authorized to interfere with Legion affairs," Alara stated, her hand moving to her own weapon. "And you're certainly not authorized to claim genetic rights to this human." Naira laughed, a sound both melodious and defiant. "You're not authorized to breed with him either, Thal. At least I'm offering him a choice." The tension between the two Nixian women was palpable. Liam sensed years of rivalry beneath their immediate conflict. "Translator Mercer," Ilara addressed him directly, never taking her eyes off Naira. "This woman is a known radical. The coalition she represents threatens the stability of our entire genetic classification system, the system that has maintained peace for generations. A system that treats people like breeding stock," Naira countered. "Tell me, Liam, did you volunteer for your reassignment, or were you simply informed of your new status as Commander Thal's genetic project?" Liam looked between them, Alara's ordered authority versus Naira's passionate rebellion. One offered security within the system. The other offered freedom from it. An explosion rocked the corridor outside, and in that moment of distraction, Liam made his choice. The Defiant sliced through space like a crimson blade, its engines pushing far beyond standard safety protocols. Liam stood on the observation deck, watching the Concordia shrink to a distant speck of purple light before disappearing completely when Naira engaged the cloaking technology. "Illegal in 17 star systems," she explained. Joining him at the viewport, but effective? Like kidnapping diplomats? Liam raised an eyebrow. "Rescuing," Naira corrected. "And you came willingly." He had. In the chaos following the explosion, precisely targeted distraction from Naira's crew, Liam had taken her outstretched hand. The choice had been impulsive, driven by something he couldn't quite name. "You should know the Concordia will track us," he said. "Commander Thal doesn't strike me as someone who gives up easily." Naira's lips curved into a smile. "Ilara and I attended the same military academy. She graduated with highest honors while I was expelled for questioning authority. She's brilliant, dedicated, and completely blinded by tradition. She moved to a control panel, adjusting their course. But I know her tactics better than anyone." "How long have you two been rivals?" "Since we were children. Our families hold opposing positions on the Genetic Council." Naira's four eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Liam now recognized indicated deeper emotion. "Alara believes preservation of the old ways is the path to stability. I believe choice is the path to justice. The ship hummed smoothly as they navigated through an asteroid field. Liam watched Naira's fingers dance across the controls, purple skin against red illumination, confident and skilled. "And where do I fit into this philosophical debate?" he asked. "You're the perfect symbol," Naira said. "A human with top-tier compatibility ratings, traded without consent for political advantage. Your case could establish precedent for all genetic sovereignty claims." "So I'm still just a pawn, then?" "Different game, same position." Naira turned fully toward him, her expression softening. "No, with us, you have agency. Stay or go, your choice. Help our cause or remain neutral, your choice." She stepped closer. "That's the entire point, Liam. Choice." Something in her directness disarmed him. Unlike the formal protocol that characterized his interactions with Alara, Naira's approach was refreshingly straightforward. "What exactly does your Reform Coalition want?" "End to mandatory genetic cataloging. Self-determination in partner selection. Recognition that compatibility should inform relationships, not dictate them." Her passion was evident in the subtle glow that intensified beneath her purple. Skin a Nixian physiological response to strong emotion. Liam found himself responding to that passion. "And what about what you want personally?" The question seemed to surprise her. For a moment, the confident revolutionary was replaced by something more vulnerable. "I want to know you," she admitted quietly. "Not just your genetic profile, which is admittedly extraordinary, but you, the human who mastered our language, who plays chess to relax, who chose to follow a stranger rather than accept his fate." Before Liam could respond, a crew member appeared at the entrance to the observation deck. "We're approaching the Coalition outpost. They're requesting confirmation of the human's presence." Naira straightened, Captain once more. "Tell them Translator Mercer is with us voluntarily and will speak to the Council himself." After the crew member departed, Liam moved closer to Naira. "I haven't agreed to speak to anyone, but you will," she said, certainty in her voice. "Because deep down, you know the current system is wrong." Their eyes met his two to her forehand. Liam felt a connection that transcended their different species, cultures, and backgrounds. In that moment, he realized his impulsive decision to join her might have been driven by something more than political conviction. "I'll speak to them," he agreed. "But first I want to understand exactly what I've gotten myself into." Naira's smile was radiant. "Fair enough. The Coalition base is neutral territory. You'll be safe there, and free to leave if you choose." As they prepared to dock, a warning siren blared through the ship. Legion vessels approaching announced the ship's AI, its matching signatures of the Concordia and to support cruisers. Naira's expression hardened. "Ilara found us faster than I expected." "What now?" Liam asked. "Now," Naira said, taking his hand, "we run." The Coalition outpost hung suspended in the darkness, a sprawling structure of interconnected modules orbiting a small, uninhabited moon. As the Defiance approached, the pursuing Legion vessels held position just beyond weapons range. "They won't fire on a civilian outpost," Naira explained, guiding Liam through the docking procedure. "Even Alara has limits." "But she'll find another way to retrieve me," Liam observed. "Undoubtedly." Naira activated the ship's external communication. "This is Captain Vex requesting emergency docking and asylum for myself, my crew, and translator Liam Mercer." The outpost granted permission immediately. As they disembarked, Liam was struck by the diversity of the beings who greeted them, not just Nixians, but representatives from a dozen species he recognized and several he didn't. "The Coalition isn't just about Nixian genetic rights," Naira explained, noting his surprise. "Many species have suffered under compatibility-based assignment systems." They were escorted to a council chamber where representatives sat in a circular arrangement, a deliberate contrast to the hierarchical structures of the Confederation. Liam's arrival created a stir of excitement. "We never expected you would actually succeed, Captain Vex," said an elder Nixian with elaborate markings across her purple skin. "Ilara Thal is already demanding his return," said another representative, this one from a species Liam didn't recognize. "She cites treaty obligations and genetic contracts." What does the human say? Asked a third voice. All eyes turned to Liam. In that moment, he felt the weight of something larger than himself. Potential turning point in interstellar policy. I was transferred without my informed consent, he began carefully. If the Nixian Confederation truly values genetic diversity and the contributions of other species, they must also value our self-determination. His words were met with approving murmurs. But before the discussion could continue, a new voice echoed through the chamber. Eloquent as always, Translator Mercer. Commander Alara Thel stood in the entrance, alone and unarmed. Her presence immediately commanded attention regal and controlled in contrast to the passionate atmosphere of the coalition. How did you get past security? Naira demanded, stepping protectively closer to Liam. I requested entry as a representative of the Confederation, Ilara replied simply. Unlike some, I follow diplomatic protocols. The tension between the two Nixian women was electric. Liam noticed subtle differences in them he hadn't fully appreciated before. Ilara's disciplined posture versus Naira's fluid confidence. The traditional markings on Ilara's face versus Naira's unconventional styling. Translator Mercer Ilara addressed him directly. I've come to offer you a choice. The declaration surprised everyone, Naira most of all. A choice? She repeated skeptically. That's not the Confederation way. Perhaps it's time for that to change, Ilara said, her voice measured, but her four eyes conveying unexpected emotion. The High Council has authorized me to propose new terms. She stepped forward, her gaze never leaving Liam's. You may return with me to complete your contracted service, but with full agency over any genetic contribution decisions. Or, she glanced briefly at Naira, you may remain here as a coalition representative. With diplomatic immunity and open communication channels to both sides, the chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Naira looked stunned. Why this sudden change? Liam asked. Because you were right, Ilara admitted, and the simple acknowledgement seemed to cost her something. No system, however efficient, can succeed if it ignores the will of those within it. And ... She hesitated because I've come to respect you beyond your genetic profile. Naira stepped forward. This changes nothing about the systemic issues. It changes everything, Liam interrupted. It's acknowledgement that change is possible from within. He looked between the two women, one representing order, tradition, and incremental progress. The other representing passion, revolution, and immediate change. Both, he realized, essential for true transformation. I have a third option, he said finally. I'll serve as liaison between the Confederation and the Coalition, with dual status. The genetic sovereignty question is bigger than my individual case. It needs voices from both sides working together. Lara and Naira exchange looks rivals still, but perhaps something more complex now. The Confederation could accept those terms, Ilara said carefully. As could the Coalition, Naira agreed. Later, as arrangements were formalized, Liam found himself alone with both women on an observation platform overlooking the stars. This isn't how I expected this to end, Naira admitted. It's not ending, Liam said. It's just beginning. Ilara studied him with new appreciation. You understand diplomacy better than most, Translator Mercer. And you, he said to her, understand that tradition must evolve to survive. He turned to Naira. Recognize that revolution requires building something new, not just tearing down the old. The three stood together, watching distant stars to Nixian women with purple skin that caught the starlight differently, and one human man who had somehow bridged their worlds. So, Naira asked with characteristic directness, in this new diplomatic arrangement of yours, what happens to personal relationships? Liam smiled. Those, I believe, will be determined by genuine connection, not genetic profiles or political allegiances. A most inefficient system, Ilara observed, but there was warmth in her voice. But the only one worth building, Naira added. As they stood between stars, Liam realized he had found something he never expected in this distant corner of space. Not just purpose, but possibility. The choice, at last, was truly his own.